How's it going, guys? So a couple of years ago, I posted a photo called Miami on Film. I think it's probably, I'll put the date, but I think I probably posted it like three years ago, close to. And in that video, I pretty much talked about wanting to photograph Miami in a way that felt more serious than I had previously shot it. And so if you don't know, I am born and raised in Miami, moved to New York City about like four and a half years ago. Pretty much my life of photography when I lived in Miami was very casual, and I was really just learning photography. And even though I've been shooting for 10 years, like the first 4 or 5 of those years were in Miami, and it was a lot of like just landscapes and night photography, going to the Everglades, cars. There was never like a cohesive feeling or feel or subject matter or anything like that. But then I moved to New York City and started getting into street photography, starting to really pay attention to photography as an art form and learning about it and learning the history of it and creating a language for myself. And now whenever I go back to Miami, I photograph it, you know, in a way that is genuine to me, and it's more serious than I had ever done in the past. And I now see it as like a body of work while I'm away from home than I am working on. And whenever I go back home, I get to sort of pile on these photos that in the future I could look back on and be like, wow, when I used to travel home to Miami, I would take these photos and yada yada. And there's been times that I've documented on YouTube going back to Miami and photographing, but I decided I want to do a Miami on Film part 2, which is what this video is going to be. So we're gonna jump into the video very soon, but just some added context. I'm doing monochrome for a year. I posted a video talking about that. You can look at it later if you wish, but I'm only shooting black and white for 2026, and it's been going really well so far. So when I was in Miami, I was only shooting black and white. So I shot Kodak Tri-X in this video. I shot with my Leica M4P, which I think for the whole trip I had my 28mm Voigtlander Ultron, and then I have my Yashicamat 124G shooting medium format, 120, 6x6. I do want to give a huge shout out to Contact Photo Lab here in Brooklyn, New York, because they developed and scanned all the film you see in this video. If you've never heard of them, they're a photo lab here based in Brooklyn, but they're also like a gallery space, and they hold galleries every so often. I just went to one a couple weeks ago. That was really fun, and it's just a great space overall, really good people over there, and they know what they're doing when it comes to developing and scanning, which I really appreciate. So if you are interested, I have a link down below. If you want to mail in your film, you'll get your first roll free. And so thank you once again, Contact Photo. So I'll stop boring you, grab a drink, have a nice coffee, and let's get into Miami on Film part 2. Funny enough, the location I am going to was featured in that episode of Miami on Film part 1 that I was talking about. So if you've seen that video, I apologize for the repetitive nature of this one, but this was just one of those locations that's really easy for me to kind of warm up in, which is good. So yeah, we're here in Coconut Grove. It is hot, but I'm trying to just walk in the shade and going to a couple locations today on the water, I think is my plan, because it is a beautiful day. So I've decided that I have been to this location so many times in kind of every format that I've shot, whether it's digital, 35mm. I probably came here with the RB67 at some point when I had it, but now that I have the Yashicamat, I've decided that I'm going to focus on using the Yashicamat today for the most part. And so I have my Leica in the bag. I just put it away. I'm going to focus on the Yashicamat. And yeah, this is a location that is always just really like standard, very nice. And I am metering about f/16 250 with reflective. Yeah, it's like f/16 500. I might go f/16 250. So I am 6 frames in, and
yeah, two things. Number one, I am hot as a shit. I am sweating. And two, I have no idea if anything I have gotten is even remotely good or interesting, but that is the process that I am in right now. I am also just, because I'm so new to 6x6, I am also just learning how to compose in square format. And it's something I've been thinking about a lot lately. And so hopefully I can use some of that thinking into practice and hopefully I come away with something good. But yeah, not sure if I've taken an interesting photo yet. All right, guys, just finished roll number one of the trip. Don't know if I got anything good. And it's just also one of those things whenever I am shooting a location that I have shot so many times before, I just wonder if I'm doing anything new that I haven't done before, besides obviously shooting in a different format. But it's all good. I think this is all a part of the learning process. But yeah, hopefully the photos are coming out good today. This could be a terrible foreshadow that they haven't, because you obviously are seeing the photos before I am seeing them. But I think my plan is when I get to the end of this marina I am at, there is a bar, and I think I'm gonna go grab a beer before I continue.
So I think overall this first set of 6x6 photos that I took were okay. I think they're very basic. I think that is also something that happens to me when I'm in Miami sometimes, but I think a part of that is also me just learning to compose with 6x6 still. I also bought this Yashicamat on eBay, and while it is in pretty decent condition, I definitely want to get it CLA'd and try to get the lens cleaned, just because there is a little bit of haze in the lens, and I think there's also just some weird light artifacts around my scans, and I think it's due to the camera just being older and needing some CLA and, you know, just some love.
So I really like the reflection that this boat has with these boats in the background. Kind of just like all the boats here, to be honest. It's like shallow water and it's very, very still. So it just creates like really interesting reflections. There's no place for me to put down my camera, to be honest. So I'm gonna just kind of capture these and show them as I get them. This has been a pretty nice walk. I have one more shot left in this second roll, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna actually use it here. I was going to walk further down that way, but it's about like half a mile to where I see the next like kind of group of people. Everything in between is kind of empty, and I am running out of gas. It is 5 minutes till 7, and sunset's around like 8:15, 8:30 probably. So I don't actually think I'm gonna hang around for sunset, even though that was the original plan. What I am gonna do now is walk back to my car, maybe get one more photo, which I'll put on the screen if I did right now. And I have plans tonight with some friends, and so I'm gonna cut shooting pretty short today. Not short, I've actually shot for like half the day, which is really nice. Not sure if I got anything good. It's been fun though, shooting only with the Yashicamat and just kind of practicing square format. So walking back to the car now and see where we go from here. Something on my mind that I've been thinking about today is that I have not photographed any people today. And part of my goal on this trip was to try to get some portraits and photograph some portraits, and that has not happened so far, which is totally fine. But also, like, just in my frames, I can't think of one photo I've taken, maybe one with like, that was like a, you know, not a street photo, but had a person in it. You know, today I obviously shot a ton of landscapes and a lot of boats, which is really funny because I actually watched back that Miami on Film part 1 that I recorded a couple years ago. And in one of the days in that video, the first location was the same, and I ended up photographing a lot of boats as well, and I made that same exact comment, which is really funny. I think that's part of the reason why I got this Yashicamat, is because, like I keep mentioning, I kind of been wanting to slow down and kind of implement some more landscape type of work into my everyday kind of photography language. And I think, you know, what you're seeing today is a result of like that want, if that makes sense. And one thing with Miami, and I say this all the time, is it's just difficult to kind of find, like, on a random weekday in the middle of the day, people outside doing things. Really, for the past like 4 years, probably more so like 2 to 3 years, coming back to Miami, that's always kind of been the struggle for me, is like kind of figuring out what I want to photograph while I'm away. And for the most part, I always come away with things that I like, which is good. And so my instincts are correct, but it's just kind of managing those expectations ahead of time or while I'm shooting, especially because I put too much pressure on myself, to be honest.
I think the day was successful to an extent. I don't think there's a photo that really stands out to me as like the best. Maybe one. I really do like this one a lot. And the other photos were okay, but definitely I think this set is the one that I like the best out of like a sequence of photos. So moving into the second shoot of photography that I had, this is something that I talked about in that first video, and it's funny because it really started again with that first video, and this is something I used to never do. I always make a point to photograph my house whenever I'm there. If I'm like bored during the day, a lot of the times, like I think this day I was working in the morning. So, you know, when I have downtime and I'm just like bored at home and I don't have plans, I definitely make an effort to go to my backyard, photograph a bit, walk around the neighborhood, photograph. And so in this video, I ended up just chilling in my backyard, photographing my backyard. And like the one thing I've noticed over the years of doing this now is this like mini project of like photographing my house is like my house is always evolving and changing, which just keeps it interesting. Even though I'm shooting the same little location, it always feels a little bit different, which is nice. It was definitely a shorter day of shooting. It gets more exciting from here, I promise. But to be honest, I do like all the photos I took. I mean, it's not like the hardest thing to photograph, but I do like pretty much almost every photo that I took in my backyard. And I think my few favorites are definitely these. But let's move in to the more exciting day of photography on this trip.
So it is now Saturday. So the last clip, or the last time I was taking photos was on Thursday. And yesterday I did plan to go shoot, but I worked in the morning and then like at noon, I went for like a 6-mile run, which is the worst idea ever because that's like obviously peak sun and it was so hot. Afterwards, I just like jumped into the pool, showered, laid in bed for hours, and then went out in the evening and did not feel like shooting whatsoever. I didn't want to force it, so I didn't shoot. And now it is Saturday, so I'm shooting today. And today, I'm headed to Miami Beach. I actually didn't realize this, but today is the Air and Sea show that they do on Memorial Day at Miami Beach. So my plan is, it's noon now, I'm headed to Miami Beach. It's gonna take me an hour to get there because of traffic. I really only have a few hours to shoot. The air show, I think, starts at 4:30 is what I read, and I have dinner at 6. So I actually don't think I'm gonna be able to hang around for a long time when the air show starts. But I'm still hoping that because the air show is happening and it's Memorial Day, you know, Miami Beach is gonna be packed and there will be a lot of people. Hopefully people are having a good time. That'll be good to photograph. Hopefully it's also not like overly packed where it's a pain in the ass to shoot anything. This is probably gonna be my last day shooting while I'm here this weekend, because tomorrow I have a couple other plans and don't think I'm gonna have time to shoot. But I will see you guys in Miami Beach.
Miami Beach, usually whenever I come here, if I want like exciting photos of some sort or just have more street photography vibes, Miami Beach is usually where I go for that. I usually park in like the same couple of garages and it's always a little bit of a trek to get to kind of the beach from there. So I walked through this area called Legion Road and got these photos, and to be honest, I don't think any of these are good. This is also the first time on the trip I'm really using my Leica because I've been using the 6x6 like most of the time. Yeah, so because the Air and Sea show was going on, the whole beach was just packed with military propaganda and different activations and sponsorship stuff. All up Ocean Drive, it was just full of tents and different things going on. And at this point, I honestly still feel like I'm warming up.
So I've done one full lap and it's actually way busier. It's not busy here, but it's been way busier than I expected. So I am throwing the POV cam on, which I didn't want to do, but I'm gonna POV the rest of today, most likely, just so I can focus more on photos.
This was honestly really perfect timing. I'd put the POV cam on and a few minutes later decided to walk to the beach. And as I was walking to the beach, the first plane flew overhead. Obviously planes move really fast and there were just so many people and it was a little bit overstimulating, so I was just trying to stay locked in. I ended up putting my AirPods in to like block out as much noise as I could. After shooting a roll plus a few photos with the Leica, I decided to take out the Yashicamat, mainly because I wanted more reach. I wanted 50mm to kind of compress the foreground and background a little bit, kind of like make the planes appear bigger in the frame. But I also was excited to compose with the planes in a square.
Yes. Sick.
I was able to shoot through this 120 roll pretty quickly, and the photos are okay, not too great, but I do like this photo.
This is gonna be less than ideal, but I am going to just change my roll out in this bright ass sunlight and hope for the best.
I've shot Muscle Beach before, but I've never shot it with these military planes flying in the background, so I think it worked pretty well. The photos, some of them are okay, some of them could have been way better. And that's the end of the 3 days of shooting I documented while I was in Miami. It's one of those things that's challenging for me because I think on that trip I was there for about a week, but obviously when I'm headed home to Miami, it's not just a photography trip. I think that week I was working during the week. I think I was doing like half days in the morning. So, you know, I'm thinking about work, and then obviously I'm trying to spend time with family. I'm trying to spend time with friends. I have other things that I have going on. And so it's not just spending every day shooting, but I obviously do photograph outside of just the 3 days you saw. So I'll show some photos that I took while I wrap up this video. So overall, I think this trip was pretty successful. I don't think there is a single photo that really stands out to me that I was like, oh, this is the photo from that trip, which is totally fine. But overall, and I kind of had the same mindset whenever I come home from Miami. I'm just happy to continue to build the body of work while I'm away from home. I'm 2,000 miles away, but whenever I do go back, I do have this body of work. And when I'm in New York, I can sequence and go through it and find things that I'm happy about from, you know, photographing in Miami. So it's always nice to kind of have that in my mind as like an ongoing project. And I'm not a project-based photographer, so I hate using that word, but just kind of having this like ongoing thing in my photography life that is headed back home to Miami. I'm going to photograph as much as I can. One thing I love about it, and I kind of talked about this when I was talking about photographing my house, but it's not just my house that changes. Miami changes so much, so rapidly. Every single time I go back, there's like a new building, something got demolished, something's going up here. My neighborhood completely is like changing with like apartments going up. There's so many neighborhoods that are changing. There's so many buildings, like skyscrapers going up everywhere. And it is like a rapidly growing city. And even when I lived in Miami and I would photograph cityscapes, like I remember in a lot of my photos, when I look back at them, like there's so many cranes in those photos, and those cranes now, obviously where those cranes were, there's like huge buildings and huge developments. And so as Miami always changes, it's nice to be able to go back and document it, and it keeps things fresh for me. Photographing the same areas, things do tend to change quite a bit from trip to trip. But yeah, overall, I think like in my photographic life right now, again, I'm not a project-based photographer, and I think the Miami work is something that stands out to me as something that I care about a lot, and it's probably the closest thing that I have to a project. Here in New York City, I don't limit myself to photographing one area or one thing or one project. I kind of don't want to do that. I've thought about it many times, but I think for me, my time here is the project, if that makes sense. Like photographing New York City is my project. And so I don't want to limit that with shooting only a specific area or a specific subject matter. But when I'm in Miami, that definitely feels like a project because it's not something that I can do obviously every day like I do here. And thank you again to Contact Photo. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you check the link down below to get more information on getting your first roll processing free on them. And do me a favor, make sure you comment your favorite photo down below, or just leave a comment down below what you think about a set of photos, or, you know, just give me some photo critique in the comments. I will end the video here. Hopefully I can do a Miami on Film Part 3 in the future. I do go back quite a bit, but I think I'll probably just do this like once a year. I think this video wasn't filmed as well as the first one. When I watched back the first one, I was like, oh, I actually like filmed this a little bit better. And I think in the next one, I will put more effort into making it a little bit more cinematic. I feel this one was kind of all over the place. With that being said, I have other film photography related videos coming in the near future, so make sure you keep an eye out for those. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.